The word abase means to embarrass or shame someone else. It also means to lower yourself physically or in rank. A boss who abases his employees by constantly yelling at them and criticizing their work will probably not be very well liked because they do nothing but bring people down. In a similar way, parents who abase their children will wind up with kids who don't think very highly of themselves. When people are scolded and humiliated by other people, especially people in power, they aren't likely to succeed. Another usage is, I won first prize at the state fair for my baking, but I felt so guilty for stealing Joshua's fruitcake recipe that I decided to abase myself and tell the judges what I had done. Abase, to degrade or demean, to humble. The word abridge means to cut short, reduce in size, or to shrink. The opera was originally 3 hours long, but we abridged it so that it was only an hour. Because we are citizens, no one can abridge our rights to free speech. The meeting had to be abridged so that everyone could make it to the airport on time. Abridge, to shorten, reduce, or shrink.
Abscond. The word abscond means to make off with something secretly. John often daydreamed about what he would do if he absconded with just some of his company's money. His job as an accountant was so very boring that if he could just abscond with even a little bit of the money, he could live a life of luxury. But then he knew he would probably be caught, go to jail, and then his dreams would be over. Maybe absconding with the money wouldn't be such a good idea after all. Abscond, to flee with something in secret.
The word adept means highly skilled or experienced in a particular area. Proficient. My son is quite adept at solving difficult math problems, and he has won many math quizzes due to his natural ability. He is remarkably adept at algebra, where most kids have to struggle. My sister, on the other hand, is particularly adept at making pies and has won several blue ribbons at county fairs. Adept, skilled, proficient. Adherent. The word adherent means a follower of someone or a believer of a cause or idea. The knight raised his sword up in the air as he glanced back at his adherents. He would defeat the enemy, and peace would be restored to the land. His adherents cheered him as he rode away toward the battlefield. Adherent, a follower of someone.
Adjourn. The word adjourn means to postpone to a later time or to move to another room during a meeting or in court. After 2 hours, we still hadn't reached a decision, and so the boss decided to adjourn the meeting and give everyone a break for the day. We'll have to resume the meeting next week, though, and there's no way we'll be leaving until we've accomplished our goals. I'm glad we adjourned, though, because now I'll have time to relax and not think about these ridiculous meetings for a few days. Adjourn, to postpone to a later time.
Admonish. The word admonish means to scold gently, to correct in a well-meaning way. The mother admonished the baby when he asked for the knife. The children were admonished for speaking too loudly in the museum. The security guard admonished Laura for bringing food into the library. While you're admonishing me for my faults, maybe you should consider your own first. Admonish, to scold gently.
The word arduous means difficult, exhausting, or requiring lots of energy and effort. Moving our heavy furniture out of the house was one of the most arduous things I've ever done. Though Stan made an arduous effort to study for the final exam, he failed the class anyway. We went on an arduous bike ride through the mountains. Arduous, difficult, exhausting. The word asylum means a place that offers safety, a hospital or sanctuary, Bethlehem Hospital was originally intended as an asylum for the poor and homeless people of the city who were suffering from any illness, hence the name House of Bread. But later on, it began to be used as an asylum exclusively for lunatics and the criminally insane, and its name was shortened to Bedlam, meaning House of Confusion. Asylum, a place for refuge.
Atone. The word atone means to reconcile or make up for a mistake. Jim had mistakenly broken the expensive glass vase which his brother's girlfriend had given as a gift to his brother. To atone for his mistake, Jim had gone out and bought exactly the same vase so he could replace the broken one. Atoning for one's mistake, however small, is a good idea. Atone. To make up for a mistake.
The word autocratic means like a tyrant, assertion of total authority. Harry's father had a very autocratic parenting style and enforced many ridiculous rules. After a while, everyone tired of the new boss's autocratic decisions. The people of that country have always lived under autocratic leaders. Autocratic. Assertion of total authority. The word blanch means to whiten, to lose color, or bleach. When Troy realized he'd lost his wallet, his face blanched, and he looked like he might throw up. After the sheets were dragged through the mud, Mrs. Rose washed and blanched them. After a year of living in the desert, the hot sun blanched the paint job on my new car. Blanch, to whiten, lose color. The word bogus means fake or not real. John wore a bogus mustache, trying to fool everyone, but it didn't work. Bill's argument in that essay is completely bogus. I thought I'd gotten a good deal on the painting until I realized that the artwork was bogus. Bogus. Fake, not real. The word brazen means bold and unashamed or extremely cocky. The cat brazenly walked off with the dog's favorite toy. Everyone was horrified by the school's brazen attempt to fire the most popular teachers. The thieves entered the bank without disguises, which was a brazen but stupid decision. Brazen. Bold and unashamed. The word comport means to conduct oneself in a particular way. It also means to agree or be appropriate. Elizabeth's parents taught her to be courteous and well-mannered, and to comport with the rules when she was at school, the library, or at someone else's house. When she behaved and followed the rules, Elizabeth felt good about herself. She didn't always comport with school policies, though. Last week she tried to bring her kitten to show and tell, and the teacher reminded her that animals weren't allowed in the classroom. Another example is, you need to comport yourself with dignity if you expect people to take you seriously. Comport. To behave appropriately. The word diffuse means scattered across a wide area, broadly distributed. Emma is still very young, so it's good that she has such diffuse hobbies and interests. As manager of this office, her responsibilities are diffuse and often change from day to day. Shawnee's diffuse musical talents come in handy for the school orchestra since she can play a lot of different instruments. Diffuse, scatter across a wide area. Diligent. The word diligent means tending to do something with careful and steady effort. Rick's diligent work ethic means that he often spends late hours at the office finishing paperwork and other tasks. He always takes a painstaking approach to his work, making sure that all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. This diligent effort usually results in long work days and careful attention to detail. Diligent, tending to do things with care and steady effort. The word dross means the waste or impurities removed from refined metal. It also means an inferior or trivial matter. Diligent. The word diligent means tending to do something with careful and steady effort. Rick's diligent work ethic means that he often spends late hours at the office finishing paperwork and other tasks. He always takes a painstaking approach to his work, making sure that all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. This diligent effort usually results in long work days and careful attention to detail. Diligent, tending to do things with care and steady effort. The word dross means the waste or impurities removed from refined metal. It also means an inferior or trivial matter. John cleverly devised a system that could remove all the dross from the seawater and make it drinkable. If only it was possible to remove the dross from our lives that easily and concentrate on the important things instead. Another example is, the metal worker made sure he removed the dross from the pipe he was making. Dross, waste, impurities. Embroil. The word embroil means to involve someone in trouble or conflict. Without intending to, Jerry allowed the two brothers to embroil him in their fight. He was just trying to stay out of their way as they were throwing punches and yelling at one another. Jerry should have walked away before they could embroil him in the fracas. Embroil, to involve someone in trouble or conflict. Facilitate. The word facilitate means to enable something or make it easier. Today's construction workers have many resources to facilitate the workers' ability to erect buildings. Without new resources like trucks, construction workers would have to labor hard at their building. The trucks ease the workers' burden every day and allow them to proceed with their building at a much faster rate. This is much easier than it was in ancient times where workers didn't have any means to facilitate their work. Facilitate, to ease, aid, or make possible.
Feign. The word feign means to pretend, imagine, or make up, such as a story or excuse. Harris feigned being very immature during dinner, so his extremely boring date would just get up and leave him. He had been feigning interest in what his date was saying for the last 2 hours, and he had had enough. Harris hoped his date would soon realize that he had pretended to be interested in her this entire time, but that she was boring him to death. Feign, to pretend, to make a false show of.
The word glib means speaking without thinking or concern, to speak casually. When I crashed my bike, I thought Justin's reaction was a little glib. He didn't seem worried that I was really hurt. Around the office, Ben was far too glib with his sarcastic remarks about the boss, so I'm not surprised he got fired. The candidate's answers during the debate were funny but glib, and people soon realized he hadn't thought about the issues. Glib, speaking without thinking or concern.
Harangue. The word harangue means a long, blustering speech or a rant. The mischievous chicks had to sit through a 40-minute harangue by their mother about not wandering too far from the chicken coop. Speaker's Corner in London is where you can always find someone delivering a harangue about something, whether anyone is listening or not. My father subjected my brother to a long harangue about his late hours. Harangue, a long, blustering speech, a rant.
Harry. The word harry means to assault or to annoy with repeated attacks. I usually love going to the beach, but today I was harried by seagulls who wanted to sample my picnic. The Vikings regularly harried the villages along the coastline. Terriers are bred to harry their prey. The word can also be used as, in the long run, I'm glad my parents harried me to finish college. Harry, to annoy with repeated attacks.
Hew. The word hew means to cut with heavy blows. An axe is often used to hew wood. It is a very effective instrument for chopping down small trees or cutting up wood for a fireplace. If you are planning to hew much wood, be sure to get yourself a good axe. Hew. To cut with heavy blows.
Irate. The word irate means angry or extremely upset. Howard was irate when he saw yet one more unfunny comedy show on television. It was too much. Why was there nothing good on anymore? Had there ever been anything really good on TV? His neighbors have started to think his ranting is on the extreme side because he's always irate about something. Irate, angry, upset.
Jeer. The word jeer means to laugh at in an insulting way, to mock someone. Ricky thought it was quite funny and jeered when Larry slipped on the banana peel. He was always laughing at other people when they had accidents. Such jeering is really bad, though, and a well-mannered person would not do something like that. Jeer. To laugh at, to mock someone.
Knave. The word knave means a villain, someone without decency or honesty. Like the knave he is, Doug took the candy right from the baby's hands. Only a fool or a knave would say those things about his own mother. He was something of a knave in his youth, but now he's a good, honest person. Knave. A dishonest person, a villain. Laborious. The word laborious means requiring great energy, effort, or done with difficulty. With a laborious effort, Chris finished the marathon in record time. I put hours and hours into studying for the exam, and my laborious preparation paid off when I scored near the top of my class. Moving into our new house proved more laborious than I had expected, but we managed to finish by early evening. Laborious, requiring great energy or effort. Larceny. The word larceny means theft, robbery. After being caught with the stolen goods, the burglar was charged with larceny. The store charged so much for milk that it seemed like pure larceny. The charges of larceny were dropped because the police couldn't actually prove he was the one who stole the car. Larceny, theft, robbery. Liability. The word liability means a disadvantage, drawback, or unnecessary burden. If you're trying to play tennis, having 2 broken arms is clearly a liability. Some people consider buying a house on mortgage as liability, while others consider it an investment. His criminal record might turn out to be a liability if he ever decides to run for public office. Liability. Something that gets in the way or holds someone back.
Lithe. The word lithe means being easily bendable or flexible. To be a ballerina, one needs to have a lithe body. The monkeys swung from tree limb to tree limb as lithe as dancers. Although she's in her 90s, her mind is still lithe. Lithe, flexible, and athletic.
Meander. The word meander means to take a winding or aimless course. Floating atop a large log, Joe slowly meandered down the river. The river's winding bends and gently flowing waters pushed Joe's log aimlessly downstream. As he meandered down the river, Joe was able to enjoy the scenery and relax in the beauty of nature. Meander, a winding or aimless course. The word momentous means extremely important or significant. Landing on the moon for the first time was a momentous event in the history of mankind. Some presidential campaigns have been more momentous than others, depending on the political issues at the time. Her wedding was probably the most momentous occasion of her life so far. Momentous, extremely important, significant.
Obstreperous. The word obstreperous means noisy, unruly, or hard to control. The woman just sat with her arms folded and waited for her obstreperous child to calm down on his own. Donkey is the most obstreperous animal I've ever known. I would have enjoyed the shopping trip if it weren't for my totally out-of-control obstreperous children running around at the mall. Obstreperous. Noisy, out of control.
The word rabid means fanatical, violent, or extremely expressive. There's nothing wrong with supporting a team and cheering for them to win, but if fans get too rabid in their support, they can become rude and even violent when things don't go their way. At some sporting events, fans have become so rabid in their conduct that they actually have attacked referees, beaten up players from opposing teams, and destroyed property after losses. There's something about sports that makes some people act in ways that are completely insane and crazed. They might never say a harsh word toward their friends or family, but when the game starts, they become rabid lunatics. Rabid, crazed, or frenzied. Reprieve. The word reprieve means a delay of punishment, temporary relief. The judge issued the order giving the guilty person a reprieve. Instead of having to serve his sentence right away, he would have a year to make arrangements for his family before he would have to begin serving time in jail. The judge's reprieve was very helpful for him. Reprieve, a delay of punishment or temporary relief. Skeptical. The word skeptical means not easily persuaded or convinced. Lonnie's father was skeptical that his son was not eating candy before dinner, even though Lonnie tried to convince his father that he was not snacking on candy. His dad doubted him. In the past, Lonnie had been caught with the candy, so it was no wonder that his dad remained skeptical of him. Skeptical, not easily convinced.
Supplant. The word supplant means to replace or substitute, especially by force or treachery. Henry's wife cried and cried when she realized she had been supplanted by her husband's girlfriend. He had no shame. "Stop your crying," he yelled. "You're getting too old for me. Betty Lou here is my new love. Get over it. She has supplanted you and will become my new wife." Supplant. To substitute someone or something for another by force.
The word untenable means incapable of being defended, occupied, or maintained. The city of New Orleans was called untenable as the levees broke when Hurricane Katrina hit with full force. The city got flooded with water, and there seemed to be no way to prevent the situation from getting worse. It appeared that I had taken an untenable position in the debate when my opponent was able to contradict all my arguments successfully. The army was forced to retreat when their initial location became untenable in the face of the advancing invaders. Untenable, indefensible, shaky.